Hey, I'm Jackie from Soul Bride Creations, and today I'm going to give you the video that I have been promising you for a really long time. I'm really good at coming up with all these excuses about not making a video because my house is loud and noisy, I have kids, I have a dog. There's all the things going on, but at the end of the day, they're all excuses, and you guys keep asking for this video, and I have a lot of really valuable things to share because this is something I'm good at. Let's get into it. Maybe obvious that I love thrifting, but I also love selling things. There's just so much satisfaction in it and it feels good, and I love having cash. Today's video, I'm gonna give you all of my tips for how to sell things. Maybe it's things you've thrifted, maybe it's just secondhand things, maybe it's things you have around your house. Whatever it is, you can make money with the stuff you have at home, and I'm gonna show you how. Grab a pen and paper and make sure to take notes because these tips work. Number one, you need to determine what your reason is. So for me, I pay a babysitter with cash. Every week, I get a babysitter for 2 hours, $10 an hour, so that's $20. So every week, I need to have $20 cash. I do not take money out of my bank account. I sell things and I use that cash. I don't have cash, I don't have a babysitter. I use cash for all different things. Sometimes we're saving up for a trip or something extra that I want to buy. Whatever it is, I use my cash, and my cash comes from my buy and sell money. So basically, I always have motivation to sell things and have cash. This past January, I earned almost $2,000 by selling things on the buy and sell, and that went towards paying off a loan. So that is done, paid off, and it felt so good. Whatever it is, just make sure you have a reason and you know why you're doing it. If you're selling things for no reason, it's not gonna work. You need a reason. One more thing on that. Sometimes my reason is simply just wanting something to get used again by somebody else. You can give it away, but sometimes I don't always have someone to give it to. So by putting it on the buy and sell, I know that it's gonna go to somebody who wants it, and they're gonna get a deal on it because it will be cheaper than buying new. That also makes me happy, and that is also one of my reasons. Okay, number two, you need to get rid of, shake it all off, all of the embarrassment, the shame, all your insecurities about selling things. Let it go. It will not serve you. If you live in a city, maybe this is no big deal, but for me in a small town, all my friends and so many people in the community see all the things that I post. I could feel insecure about it. I could feel embarrassed about some things, or maybe I'm unsure of a price and I don't want people to be like, look at how much she priced that, or wow, that's cheap, or holy, that's expensive. Wow, she keeps posting so much. Look at all the junk she has in her house. There's so many different things that people could be thinking, but at the end of the day, none of it is gonna serve you. So you just have to let it go. Who cares? You're making money, you're selling your things. Why do you care what Susie down the street says? Number three, this is a must if you want to be successful and actually make some money. You need to research before you price your items. Everybody's talking about how terrible inflation is, but I'm going to tell you a little secret. Inflation is good for selling things on the buy and sell. You guys won't believe the things that I have sold for more than I paid for it because of inflation. This one was so awesome. I sold this ski attachment for our chariot. I got it brand new on sale for about $120, I believe. It was half price at the time. I used it for a few years, 3 years, really good condition still, so I decided to sell it, and the first thing I did was I went online and I looked up today's price. Today's price is way more than what the regular price was, and I bought it on sale, so I ended up selling for, I think I sold it for $200. So I sold it for more money than I paid for it. I used it and I made a profit on it. That, friends, is how you do it. I also did this with our child carrier hiking backpack. Bought it on the buy and sell. I think I paid about $225 for it. Looked it up today. The new price was around $400. So I listed it for sale for $250. That's a huge savings for somebody who wants to buy it new, right? $250 or $400. So I sold it for $250, which was a little bit more than I bought it for 3 years ago, and I made money. Done. At the end of the day, do not base your price based on what you paid. You need to base your price on today's retail value. This could work bad for you if the price has gone down, but for most things, the price has gone up and it will work in your favor. As for how much I price things, it really varies on the condition, the quality. Often if I'm unsure and it's maybe not in super good condition, I'll price it for half of the retail price. That's kind of my go-to, but it really depends. Is it a brand name? Is it something that's in demand? Is it something that's hard to find? All of those things, you can price it more. It's a more desirable item. If you want to get an idea of used prices, you can search Facebook Marketplace. You can search garage sale, Kijiji, Craigslist. Do people use those anymore? I remember I did back in the day. You could check Etsy or eBay. All of those things will give you an idea on used prices. Number 4, quality photos. Someone's scrolling, it needs to catch their attention. If it doesn't catch their attention, they're not even going to look at your ad. If they're not going to look at your ad, they're obviously not going to buy it. So the first thing you do is you need to catch their attention. Take your time. It doesn't take very long. Clear the crap around and take a good quality photo. Sometimes I hold things up with my white wall in the background or take a photo on a nice kind of neutral colored rug or neutral colored floor. Just take your time to take good, clear photos and close enough that people can see the details. I also recommend taking a few photos, especially close-ups. If there's any imperfections, take photos of that. You want your buyer to know what they're getting, so don't mislead them. They won't be happy. It will affect your reputation. I take all of my photos on my iPhone. You really don't need anything fancy. Just take a few minutes, maybe go by a window so you have lots of really good natural light, and take a photo. You can do it. 5. Detailed descriptions. You want to make sure you include any imperfections, anything that's wrong with it, included in the description. You don't want to be a scammer. Just be honest. Some people like to include if it's from a smoke-free home or a pet-free home. I don't write too many details about that. We do have a dog. If somebody asks me, I'll disclose that for sure. I feel like if somebody needs to know it's from a pet-free home, they'll ask and I'll happily tell. Being honest about the conditions of your items builds trust. So especially if you live in a small town or you're going off of ratings, people will give you better ratings and people will be repeat customers. So just be honest. 6. Choose the right platform. I primarily list my items on our town's Facebook buy and sell page. If you're not familiar what this is and you are on Facebook, just search the groups tab and type in the name of your community and then buy and sell. You'll probably be surprised what comes up. There's a few different buy and sell groups in my community. There's one kind of main one that I use all the time, and then there's also one just for kids stuff. This is great for selling kids items. I do often list in both groups. You can also list on Facebook Marketplace. So this is public and anyone who uses Facebook Marketplace can see it. I do list some things on Facebook Marketplace that are of a higher value. So for example, I did list that ski attachment for our chariot and the backpack child carrier. And actually both of those items were bought by somebody who lives in a community 2 hours away, but they knew somebody here, so they picked it up for them. Those items, I know they're very specific and they can be hard to find, so people are probably searching a wider area for them. If it's a higher priced item and I think it's something that is specific that people might be searching for, I will also put it on Facebook Marketplace, not just my local buy and sell Facebook page. Community also uses an app called Garage Sale. I had no idea what this was until I moved here. Great for people who don't have social media. I know my husband uses it a lot. He's always telling me what's on there. So I do often list items on there. And you can list an item on both Facebook Marketplace and Garage Sale and eBay or Etsy or wherever you want to put it. And that's okay. Often people will write cross-posted on their ad, so then you know it's posted on other platforms where people can sell. A lot of people sell clothing on Poshmark. I've personally never used Poshmark. I have the app and sometimes I look at it, but I've never bought or sold on it. But I do know that it is very popular for selling clothing items. Of course, there's eBay and Etsy, but if you're just starting out selling things, I don't recommend using either of them. On both of those platforms, you really need to build up your reputation. I think it's rare that someone is going to buy from somebody who doesn't have any sales. People want to buy from people who have a history of sales, a history of reviews, and they're established on there. If you're selling very unique items, vintage items, collector's items, those sorts of things, eBay and Etsy are something that you might want to look into. I have used Etsy a lot for selling my handmade items, and I can tell you, you have to put a lot of work into it to build up that reputation and get a lot of sales. Yes, you can, but that takes time. So if that's something you really want to get into, you can. But I'm assuming you just want to get into selling things to make some quick cash. And I would stay away from Etsy and eBay for that. 7, relisting frequency. I've had this question about how often you should relist items. And for me, this is completely variable. Sometimes I'll post an item, and if I get no traction, but I really want to sell it or I really need the cash, I will delete it and relist it the next day or later that afternoon. I used to feel really embarrassed about this because, people would see, or I've even had people say, oh, I see that thing still hasn't sold. But that's okay to accept that it's okay if people notice that. It's not a big deal. So sometimes I will relist items and keep the price the same. If I really truly want to get the price that I'm asking, I will relist it for the same price. Or sometimes I relist it for the same price if it's something I don't really want to sell, but I feel like if I get that price for it, then I will sell it. So I do that too. Sometimes if I just need a really quick sale, again, my reason, I need the cash, I'm going to relist it and drop the price. Drop it $5, $10, $15, just drop it to whatever you want. On average, I would say I let things sit quite a while, maybe a few weeks before I would relist it. It just really depends on how badly I want to sell it. Number 8, be flexible with delivery. I know lots of people do not want to deliver, and as a general rule, I don't deliver. People pick up at my house, I leave it on the doorstep, they e-transfer or leave me money. There are a few people in town who have been good customers of mine and they don't drive or have vehicles. I do make exceptions, and for people like that who I know are gonna pay or e-transfer right away, I don't mind dropping it off and helping them out a little bit because I know they're a good customer and they're not gonna stand me up. Otherwise, I typically don't deliver, but again, don't be afraid to make some exceptions for that rule because it may help you get that sale. I may also deliver for an item that won't sell and then someone is finally interested. I'll keep following up with them and be like, hey, did you want me to deliver it? Because I just want to get that sale and get it out of the house. Also always put on my ads, first come, first serve, or no holds without payment. If it's the morning and someone says, can I come at 5 p.m.? Of course, I'm going to hold it until 5 p.m. At 5 p.m., if they don't show, I'm going to go to the next person on the list. Someone says, hey, I can come next week. I'll say, great, I can hold it for you if you want to e-transfer me. Otherwise, I can let you know next week if it's still available. That's kind of my go-to line. That way, if somebody asks for it sooner, you can sell it to them, and if not, you can message them next week and be like, hey, did you still want to come? It's still available, blah, blah, blah. Number 9, this is the last one. You need to believe it will work. This might sound ridiculous, but it's so important. There's so many people that I tell that I sell things on the buy and sell, and they always say, how do you do it? I can't do that. Everyone's annoying. I don't want to deal with people. People don't show up, blah, 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 blah. Thing is, they have the mindset that it's not going to work. And their mind is focused on all the reasons why they don't want to sell. Yes, people might stand you up. That happens. It's all part of it. Yes, you do need to be responsive to people. You don't want to spend your time doing that. That's okay. But you make that choice. If it works because I know it works, I also love that other people can get a deal on the things that they want. Because when I buy something secondhand and I'm getting a deal, something that I really want but wouldn't have bought new, I feel so good. Maybe they did make money on it because of inflation or whatever. Who cares? I'm still happy because I got a deal on it. So if I can provide that service for somebody else, it's a win-win. Okay, friend, I hope this has been helpful for you. Let me know in the comments if you have any other questions or new to selling things. Give this a try and let me know about your sales in the comments. It's so fun sharing with my friends who just get it when we have good sales. You can check out my other videos for thrifting, thrift flips, DIY, and craft projects.